Now, we're not saying if someone is doing something wrong that you stay in a situation like that.
No. If you're being abused or you're being cheated on, now these are the type of things that would call for divorce. But we say divorce is not an option because we're not placing ourselves in any of these situations. Like for me being a man, I know temptation is out there. I know when certain hormones and things get raging, it's kind of hard to make sound decisions. So for me, I know not to put myself in that position because I know what I value. And people make decisions based on the things that they value. I value my family. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the things that I value, which is my family. What's going on, everyone's? We here and we back with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am Brandon D.
I am Camille A. Stocker.
And y'all tuned in. And like always, we want to say thank you. We are coming up on 700 subscribers. So we want to say thank you to everybody who continues to rock with us. If you're on our podcast platform, be sure to stick with us. We have our subscription. So if you want to help us move right along, come subscribe to us on our podcast platform. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and we're going to be here. But anyway, we're going to keep it moving with what you know good. What you got for me, baby?
All right. I read 2 books this week. I was supposed to come and tell y'all about something that's happening. I'll touch on it at the end. But I first read The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, and I give that 3. I wrote down 3 stars. And this is a short read. It's 127 pages, and it's about an old man, hence the title, who goes out to sea to catch a big fish. And I'm going to give it away. The big fish is a marlin. He catches the big fish, but he doesn't make it back the way he thought. So I think the point of Hemingway writing this was sometimes you need to just let go.
Let it go.
No matter what you want to show people, sometimes it just leave well enough alone. He should have left well enough alone. He was just trying to live out this dream. So 3 stars. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little boring for me. It was boring, but it was a good read. Next up, Teach Your Own: The Indispensable Guide to Living and Learning with Children at Home. This is by John Holt and Pat Farenga. This is basically just for if you're interested in homeschool, if you are a homeschool family, it's just giving you an idea of what happens in different homeschool families. And through the years, John Holt was a teacher in the system for 20 years. And so he saw firsthand how the children in New York were learning, and he's like, this isn't it. And so then he came out of it. He left his job as a teacher, and then he started looking at homeschooling and ways that children learn that are not keeping them boxed in. And so this is just, he's taking letters that people had written him, and he's put them in the book, and you read about them and how children are learning, not being confined in a box. So this, I've never given a book like this much. I've either just stayed on the scale, but it's a 4.7. I gave it 4.7 stars. You got to color in a little bit of the 5th star. It ain't going to make it all the way. Yeah. All right. So the last thing that I was going to...
0.7?
0.7. You want me to give it a 5.7?
All right.
0.7.
4.7.
4.7. Okay.
That's a little bit more than half of the 5th star. Okay, I got you.
So you got to color it in.
I don't even know how to do that.
I'll draw 5 stars and then I'll show you.
And then I cut a piece of one off.
You have to cut it. But so the thing that I was going to talk about, I'm going to talk about it a little quickly. There is this thing that is happening called school choice. And what school choice is doing is the government wants to start, since they already fund public school, they want to start funding private schools, and they also want to start funding homeschools. Now, some majority of homeschools are against this because we don't want the government's money. Why don't we want the government's money?
That means government influence.
Because if we take the money from them, then they have a say in how and what our children learn. And that's the point. And the whole point of homeschooling is you teach them what you want, what you would like them to
So they
learn.
want to make you think they're doing you a favor, but they're really helping themselves out.
Right. So you would probably have to buy like the curriculum and have this set when I can know where to get free stuff. It's
going to be all kind of stipulations with that.
Yeah. So we don't want that. I can say that on Tuesday, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, will be in Houston. And some of the families will be talking to him about that. So
the governor.
Yeah, the governor. So then that's all I have for what you know good.
All righty then. We gonna keep it on the moving with the topic for today. But before we do that, if you want to help us keep it moving, we have 2 links in the description. One is a buy me a coffee, but we say buy us a book. So if you want to help us by buying books, because we are a homeschool family, and like she was just saying, most of the homeschooling that we do is funded by us. So if you want to help us out, feel free. There are 2 links in the bio. One is to buy me a book, and the other one is our Cash App. So if you want to donate to that, we would greatly appreciate that. But we're going to go ahead and get into the topic for today, which is going to be
divorce is not an option.
Sure ain't. And a lot of people, divorce is an option for a lot of people, but I believe that's because, first off, they go into marriage for the wrong reasons. Then I feel like people really don't even know that the person, they don't truly know the person that they're getting into a relationship with. We think people are good people because they're fun to be around. And you'll soon find out that that is normally not the case. How you feel?
I don't know, because nobody knows anybody. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows anything. So you're taking a chance on marriage. But it's not really taking a chance, because God is like, hey, this is what I put. This is what I need you to do. If you're going to get married, if this is your choice, then go ahead and do it, right? Like, learn each other. And this just popped in my mind. Like, think about in other countries with like arranged marriages, they don't know what they're getting into. Mm-hmm. So they
make it work.
Right. And we go into it believing we know what we're getting into. You understand? You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I might not.
But that goes to not really having a foundation of what marriage really is.
Because what are they called? What are those marriages called?
Common law marriage?
No. What? In different countries, what are those marriages called? There's a word for it, and I cannot think. The arranged marriage. Hello. The arranged marriages, they know what it means, what the foundation of marriage is. It's not about, I guess eventually it will become fun, but it is about building, it is about having the man and a wife and building a family, and like probably status as well, like how they're going to be in society. Mm-hmm. In America, it's different. We marry for love. We marry because I feel this. I have butterflies in my stomach, mm-hmm. and
you make me feel
this way.
Yeah.
Or, ooh, you got me the biggest ring. Ooh, I get to have this humongous
this
wedding.
Person that can financially support me.
Right. Ooh, I get this big wedding, and I get to invite everybody, mm-hmm. and I get to show off. And we said in previous episodes, probably several times, that's not what it is. And so you have your fairy tale in the beginning. Yeah. And then when you have to settle down and be next to this person every day, you realize, what the heck did I do? You know,
what I get myself into?
What did I do? You said yes, because the fairy tale does have to end. So, and then you also see like the ups and downs, like maybe money was good while mm-hmm. you were dating, and then something happens, you know, because life happens.
Yeah, throw your curveball real quick.
Stuff happens. Yeah. There was a big pandemic that happened, and that changed a lot of people's lives financially, emotionally, mentally. So it changed people, and we didn't see it coming, or people who did see it coming, we weren't listening to it, right? So
I know being close to someone for an extended amount of time will either have you choking them to death or loving them that much more.
Well, I think, and if you get into it, it's a choice. You have to make a choice. We could use the pandemic, for example. We were confined at home, so we could not go out and be with anybody else. We had to stay in our bubbles. We had to stay because they didn't want us to spread it and all of this. So
even the people who were normally out, they were. It's almost like you're being force faithful.
And then realizing, I do enjoy you. Yeah. Oh, I remember we used to do this. I see the benefit. Right.
Yeah.
Of having to come together, because it's a choice. You can make a choice. Now, we're not saying if someone is doing something wrong that you stay in a situation like that.
No. If you're being abused or you're being cheated on, now these are the type of things that would call for divorce. But we say divorce is not an option because we're not placing ourselves in any of these situations. Like for me being a man, I know temptation is out there. I know when certain hormones and things get raging, it's kind of hard to make sound decisions. So for me, I know not to put myself in that position because I know what I value. And people make decisions based on the things that they value. I value my family. I'm not going to jeopardize anything. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the things that I value, which is my family. So I say all that to say it's really about what you value as a person, as an individual. If you value family, then make decisions that are going to benefit that. If you value whatever it is that you value, make decisions that will benefit that value.
Recently, like the other day, like Friday night, I don't know. Recently, I was watching one of these YouTubers, and her and her husband are going through a divorce, and they were seen, like they were YouTubers and they were seen. And so she's giving like all the dirt on what happened. And, and he was online.
While he was there, like in real time?
They're not together.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it made me kind of feel for her, because it's like they put on this, let me not say they put on, the way that their YouTube channel was structured. We looked at them like they're good, right? They're all right. Whole time he was out there making a choice not to commit. And she was at home committing, right?
Not on the same page.
Not on the same page. She was paying for things and he wasn't, but he was paying for hotel rooms and things like that. Yeah, if you get my drift on what he was doing. And so she was just like, how? So I was just like, dang, but people make a choice. You make choices. And it wasn't like one time. It was several times.
He consciously made a choice. It was several times.
And then one of the things that bothered me when she, of course, it's just her telling the story. So you go off of what she's saying. But what bothered me was a point where he had found God, right? And so then
he found him.
And he started reading and stuff. But everything that she was doing, he was like holding God over her. And I was like, that's not cool, right? You wearing that. It says you don't do this. It says
coming out of his sin, he wants to.
Exactly. You don't work like that.
He gonna go at her about hers because he found God. He wants to put it out, throw it in her face.
It was what's that word they say? A narcissist. He seemed like something is wrong because of how he was playing it. And she was just like, he would throw God. And I was like, you don't use that, because he was talking about the things that she was doing.
Scripture.
Yeah. He was saying how she was being blasphemous. And I was like, well, what you're doing is blasphemous because you're using God to try and like control somebody. And that's like, hold on, you don't do that,
you
right?
Need to take your own conviction.
So I just saw that and I was just like, wow, because
you never know what's going on behind the scenes.
You never know. So that's
I can make it look like whatever I want to, but I want you to know that we good. And divorce ain't an option.
Like, no, well, it's an option for her because it was a lot, you know? Yeah. And then imagine like how many other marriages are going through that. Absolutely. I know about that because it's online. And I'm looking at it, I'm indulging it like,
but it's a lot of those same instances going on. I mean, we walk by people every day who probably going through it.
Yeah. This question just came. Do you think that marriage counseling contributes to how we view marriage?
Explain.
Or what was it, premarital? What was it before we got married?
Oh, do you think, ask the question again?
I don't even know.
Do I think that our pre-marriage counseling helped our situation?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because we already had it in our mind. We already had the wrong mindsets. We went in there thinking, oh, we don't want to get married until we get ourselves figured out. Mm-hmm. That was already a wrong way of thinking. Mm-hmm. So I believe it did help because we had no foundation. We just knew we loved each other at that time. So we figured love was the basis of our relationship. We figured out through not only that counseling, but life, that love is not the basis of it. It shouldn't be the basis of any relationship. It should be a part of it, but it should not be the foundation.
I sure did. Like, dang, I don't know how. No, I'm not gonna get that personal. But it was just like, what do you look like that? It was just, I went into it thinking, okay, so our married day. This is so funny. Our anniversary is on Wednesday. When we got married, so we had a reception. It was like a little reception. And so what happened was, because you see other people and how they're interacting with their husbands, oh, they just got married and pictures and everything. And so I felt kind of slighted because you weren't there like with me, right? Like it was like your brothers were there and friends were there. And so you were out with the men, and I was like, okay, but what about me? So I was like sitting there waiting. I was like, okay, he's, and then you had left. I don't know if you remember that you had left. You went home and then you came back. I was like, dang, so I'm just here, right? And so I was like, man, this ain't, and then what would you say eventually, beforehand? What did I get into? Because I was like, it's my wedding day, right? It might have not been as glamorous or whatever, but it was like, I felt that you should have been there, but beside me the whole, maybe not the whole time, but it was like, there were some moments where I was just sitting there like, la, la, la. And I had to get up and I go talk to, family and stuff that was there. But I was like, I'm sitting here. And so there was a moment where I was like, what the heck am I doing? What did I sign up for? Well, I was like, oh my goodness. So marriage is not easy. It is work. And that night is when I realized that
this was going to be some work.
Shoot.
It ain't all hunky-dory.
It should have been all hunky-dory. So you shouldn't have. It ain't. You should have been right there. So that was, it hurt my feelings.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Wow.
I apologize for that.
Wow.
For what happened.
That hurt my feelings.
I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah, so it's just interesting that love is an action. You really can't depend on a feeling. You have to work through life together. We have to work together every day. When I'm annoyed, When I am
annoying,
frustrated, I don't be annoying. I am not annoying. When I am annoyed, you gotta work through it.
So that suggests that I'm annoying and you aren't.
Exactly.
Okay, we're gonna let that be what it is. So you're right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you believe people are missing in their marriages today?
God, a foundation. Marriage is not a man put together thing. So when you go into it thinking worldly marriage, it's not going to work.
What's a worldly marriage?
Not a union without God.
So what does a union with God look like?
What we got? Foundation.
Oh my gosh.
It looks like work. It looks like understanding. It looks like communication. It looks like submission. It looks like being in line with what the word says. God, man, wife, children.
Mm-hmm. You got that off the board, huh?
What board?
Oh, you didn't see it?
What board?
On my whiteboard in there. I was going over it with the girls.
Oh. Yeah, and that's another thing we need to be doing, teaching our children this so they know.
I was going over it.
Yeah, we all out of order. How do we expect things to work if we ain't in order? You got to have God to know the order. You can't just find you a pastor, get married, and think that everything is going to be smooth sailing.
Well, I sure did think that.
Yeah, we thought that. Until he told us he wasn't going to do nothing for us until we did counseling.
Yeah, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
premarital
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that needs to be a standard. Everybody has to go through the premarital stuff before you actually get married.
I was listening to Vody Bauckham. And he was saying how couples will say they can't find a church, right? They can't attend a church together. But as soon as they become engaged, then they found the church that they want to get married in. They know who they want to marry them. And he was like, how is that easier
than finding a church home?
Well, of course you're paying, or, you're paying for that person. But how is it easier to do that than to find your church home and to stick with your church home and go to and attend church regularly with your family and stay and be in the faith and not only for that day? And he said but he was also saying how he let me take that back, that he would rather do funerals than do weddings, because at weddings, they are only telling a pastor, okay, now you come, and this is what we want you to do. Yeah. At funerals, you get to, eulogize and preach and do what you want, because you can preach. Yeah. Nobody's going to tell you, okay, you can't do that.
Weddings it's a set game plan.
Yes.
Everything is already what it is. Mm-hmm. At a funeral, you can kind of improvise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Marriage is not an option for us.
Marriage is not an option for us.
I'm tripping. Divorce. I'm tripping. Divorce is not an option for us. We don't even put it on the table. We don't joke about it. It's not something that comes up in conversation. So, this is the only time we've talked about divorce, really.
We ever said the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't get mad at each other and be like, I'm going to leave you.
I used to.
And that used to piss me off.
I used to.
Man, that used to make me mad, boy.
I knew it. That's why I would say it.
Man, my thing is this. Don't say things you ain't willing to act on.
I ain't never go nowhere.
I know. You wasn't willing to act on it.
But I would say it like don't do that. Y'all, I would say things to get under his skin, because it's like you
you hurt me.
It wasn't even about hurting. You're not viewing this marriage the way not even how I feel you should. You're not helping in this marriage. You're not bringing what I need you to bring as the man in this marriage. Huh. So either I can stay or either I can go. And And that's not the right way to do things. You have to communicate and talk things out.
Especially if you got a dude to say, well, bye.
But so yeah, don't take that route. Talk it out. Divorce is not an option unless it's something
I know when you upset me, I be having to walk away. I be having to take a breath. I be having to go find some other things to do so I can come back with a sound mind, because if I pop off right then, I know it's going to be an even bigger problem. So sometimes we just need to take a step away, figure out what's being said to us, realize the person that's saying it and what they actually mean, come back and then have a conversation about what happened.
Yeah, I said I did this a long time ago. I said I did that a long time ago. I'm just saying. I'm saying for the people.
Yeah,
I'm not pulling that now.
That was a word of advice from me to you. You feel me? So
because it was, I don't know the saying verbatim, but it was my grandmother who said it, and basically it was like, don't leave out that door if you're not.
If you want to come back, you better not leave. If you think you're going to come back.
I wish I knew like word for word what it was. I can't remember it, but it was just like, don't leave. If you think that you're going to leave, don't look back, basically.
Yeah.
Once you walk out that door, let that door stay closed.
That sounds like one of them old school sayings.
It was, I got to ask my mama what it was. But yeah, don't play games like that, because marriage it's not a game.
Yeah.
It's not a game.
Not at all. Do y'all feel, is divorce an option for you in your relationship? Do you feel like you make jokes about divorce? Are y'all here playing about divorce? How do you feel about divorce? Let us know. I think we made some valid points. How about you?
Yeah, because I never said divorce. I've been never divorced.
It was never the word, but it was the insinuation.
I said leave.
Leave.
Don't come back.
Oh, okay. Well, like your grandma said, if you ever leave, don't bring your behind back.
I'm gonna leave.
Straight up. Make your mind up and make it clear and stick with it, stand on it. But once again, thank you. Before we get out of here, I'm tripping. Before we get out of here, we're going to bust him in the head one time for your mind with On This Day in Black History. So today is March the 20th. So on this day in 1852, Uncle Tom's Cabin, a novel by Harriet Beecher Stowe, was published in Boston, Massachusetts. Give him a little Uncle Tom's Cabin history, baby. It's a big old book.
Can you?
I know y'all can see it. I know you see it. No,
they got it.
But for anybody who doesn't quite know, we all heard the saying, Uncle Tom. You acting like an Uncle Tom. I think a lot of us need to read this book, because how we use Uncle Tom is not how Uncle Tom truly was. So I feel like we need to, instead of regurgitating the things that we've heard before, we need to find out the information for ourselves. And the best way to do that is to actually read. So with that being said, we want to say thank you to everyone who continues to subscribe, everyone that continues to show us love. We will be back here next Monday with another hot topic for your mind. And like always, it's love, peace, and soul. Bye. Like Soul Train, baby.